So DJI have just released their latest iteration of their wireless mic system. This is the DJI Mic 3, and it is definitely intended for creators and vloggers. You can see I have the transmitter connected right now. In fact, every word of dialogue I'm going to be speaking to you in this video will be spoken through the Mic 3 system. Now, one thing you may notice is that I actually have the receiver still in the charging case. So how am I using the transmitter to record this? Well, right now I have this connected directly to my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera. And since this is the combo, it also comes with a second transmitter right here. And now I've brought you back inside, still using the DJI Mic 3, but hopefully this will give you a good example as to how this sounds from an indoor environment. Now you can see I have one of the transmitters here, and if I show you this compared to the transmitter of the previous generation, the Mic 2, it is about half the size. 16 grams versus 28 grams, but actually the Mic 3 has more than double the storage with 32 gigabytes of internal recording storage compared to 8 gigabytes on the Mic 2, and the charging case itself that's bundled with the Mic 3 is actually more efficient. But not only that, it can be used to store accessories as well. That said, there are still some advantages in using the DJI Mic 2 over the just released Mic 3. These include, for example, a lavalier port on the Mic 2, non-existent on the Mic 3. And secondly, there is a USB-C port on the Mic 2, which can be used for transferring data and also for charging. Again, no such port on the Mic 3 because of its size. In terms of audio quality, like the Mic 2, the Mic 3 is capable of supporting 24-bit recording and 32-bit float. However, it also brings to the table lossless recording for higher fidelity, and some neat features that I like, including adaptive control. And so this is going to be great for adapting the gain, especially if you are going to be recording in a noisy environment or a quiet environment. To be able to switch this so quickly is really obviously a convenient thing. There are 3 voice tone presets included. These are regular, which is what I'm using now, but there's also a rich mode when you really want to focus on those lows, and a bright mode when you need to capture that clarity. And there are now 2 levels of active noise cancelling. Basic is going to be useful if you are in, for example, an indoor environment, but you still have some hums that you want to keep out of the recording, such as air conditioning units or background fans. And then you have the typical noise cancellation, which is the strong mode, and that's for, you know, if you've just got a lot going on. And in terms of just the overall audio control and flexibility, I would definitely say the Mic 3 has the upper hand over its predecessor. And what I love is that each transmitter can be paired with a traditional clip, such as this one, to hook it onto your clothes. And as you can see, this is magnetic and it can be connected at different orientations, so you can always make sure that you have the mic pointed towards the source of the sound. But of course, you can disconnect the clip and use the traditional magnet as well that DJI have been including with their microphones, which is what I'm using right here. And this can effectively just connect to so many different things in so many different places. It doesn't have to be on your person. Of course, DJI are going with all the latest technologies as we would expect from them, which means that you can expect up to 400 meters of range when using the Mic 3 system, and that's in a nice open environment. But even if you are in a more interference-oriented place, you can still expect up to 80 meters of range. So even when I'm at a bit of a distance, you are going to be able to hear me clearly without any problem at all. Just how does this sound? Honestly, for my tests, it's pretty darn good. And one of the reasons the Mic 3 works so well with interference is because it can actually automatically switch between the 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bandwidths, depending on what it's going to be suited for at the time. And despite being smaller, which means a smaller battery, it actually lasts longer overall. Each transmitter on its own will last up to 8 hours, and the receiver can last up to 10 hours from a full charge. Of course, with the charging case, you can extend these times up to 28 hours. So for those of you that go on long shoots, this is definitely going to be a big upgrade over the Mic 2, which only supported up to 6 hours for both transmitter and receiver. And DJI have also introduced time coding support. So especially if you have a multi-camera setup, this will allow you to match up the audio and video sync very quickly in editing. And the receiver itself gives you all the options that you need, all the options that you expect. It does have the small touchscreen, which is very fluid and it works well, although you do have the control wheel as well. Because the transmitters have built-in Bluetooth connection possibilities, you don't even need to use the receiver if you don't wish to do so. So you can connect directly to, for example, your mobile phone over Bluetooth or to your computer. And what I also like is that DJI supply inbuilt receivers in their camera technology. So the Pocket 3 that I'm using, or the DJI Osmo Action 4 and 5, along with the Osmo 360, all have the capability of connecting directly to these transmitters without any necessary receiver. As for whether it's worth the purchase, I think for new users who need a wireless mic system, then it's definitely going to have everything you need and it is going to be a fantastic system. If you are looking to upgrade, for example, from the previous gen, the DJI Mic 2, then you will need to consider whether these additional improvements are going to be helpful to you. Time coding and audio presets, features here that are not included in the Mic 2, but then you will be giving up that lavalier port, so a little bit of a different case for you guys to consider. But folks, hopefully this introduction to the DJI Mic 3 has been a helpful one. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Let me know your thoughts on the Mic 3 down in the comments and whether you think it's going to be worth the purchase. But have a great day and I'll catch you next time.